You're listening to Closing Market Weekly, the show where real estate closings meet real world insight. With your host, Phillip Hogan, and every week we break down the trends, tools, and the timing that keeps deals moving forward. Let's dive in. Hi, I'm Phillip Hogan, the CEO of Closing Market Weekly. And today we're diving into our first episode with our guest, Bernie Del Hierro, who is the president of WestStar Title. Whether you're a lender, title company, escrow, attorney, notary, realtor, homeowner, or someone that provides services in the real estate industry, this conversation is for you. So, Bernie, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Philip. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
You're quite welcome. Bernie and I have worked together with Signing Services America for a number of years. And it's really interesting that, we often talk with each other by phone or email, but it's a pleasure to actually see one another and
Well,
have this conversation face to face for the first time in what, 4 or 5 years, huh?
yeah, we've done business for some time, Philip, and I
Yeah.
I certainly appreciate the partnership. And so usually when we're corresponding back and forth, it's about work or business or a transaction per se. So it's nice just to sit back and have a conversation.
Absolutely. And so, Bernie, so your bio is very impressive. And let me share that with the audience. Bernie brings over 22 years of commercial real estate experience, including title and capital markets, to WestStar Title. He has experience managing portfolios for clients and brokers who, while providing an exceptional experience in developing strong business partnership relationships throughout the Borderplex region. Bernie, would you please share with our audience what was your road like to become the president of WestStar Title?
Yeah, I've actually, been in commercial real estate in some way, shape, or form for over 26 years now. I started my real estate career in 2000. It was funny. I was working part-time for a what I was gonna call a boutique investment firm, real estate investment firm, but they weren't so boutique. They were one of the largest owners operators in the country for multifamily. And I
Mm,
was also working part-time as a tennis pro. And I thought, well, what do I want to do? Do I want to get in business or do I want to teach tennis the rest of my life? Well, I went in the business direction, and the rest is history. And so, in some capacity, have worked uh, with in capital markets and acquisitions and dispositions. Worked for a real estate investment trust for years, and I'd say about 8 years ago, I met a gentleman who was my mentor, and he got me into title. And the rest is history, as they say. So.
So Bernie, thank you for that. And our audience would like to know you got into title 8 years ago, and you have a wonderful mentor who has groomed you over the years. But what was there something particularly interesting and appealing for you to not only dip into the escrow role, but to remain?
Yeah, so it was interesting. I was heading acquisitions for a real estate investment trust. So my job essentially, Philip, was to get deals to the title company.
Mm,
Outside that, I wasn't interested on what was going on the other side of the table with respect to title and curative matters and those types of things. I was just underwriting deals, finding capital, equity, and debt. And that's what essentially, I was in charge of. One of our investors at the trust was a gentleman who had a title agency here in El Paso, my hometown. And he just, he saw something in me, said, I think you'd be a great commercial title escrow officer. I really wasn't interested. I didn't know much about it
mm,
outside what I just explained, and that's, getting deals underwritten, under contract and to the title company. And I gave it a try,
mhm, mhm,
I
mhm.
took the risk. He took the risk on me,
Mhm. It
and
paid off.
I really do enjoy it. I really do love it. I love being a closer. I'm still a closer at heart, despite being the president of our agency. And I like being in the closing room, and I like working with the clients and being at the closing table. It's just something that, really kind of tugs on my heartstrings. So.
That's great, Bernie. And I think the final piece I'll add to that is I'm sure you had to work really hard to not only convince your mentor, but to others who were sort of like around you. to see if Bernie was really going to pan out to be the person that they hoped you would become.
Yeah, listen, title is extremely niche, right? I mean,
Mm,
it's there's no one that I know that said, geez, I really want to go to grad school, get an MBA so that I could be an escrow officer one day. No
right,
one knows. No one says that, right,
right,
Philip?
right, right.
And it was funny. I was at the Texas Land and Title Association conference last month in Nashville, and I'm talking with a gentleman, and the question that was posed to me was, did you get family into title or did you get tricked into title? And I found that a bit comical, because it's really one of the two. You're
Right,
either in it because it's a family business,
right.
or you got talked into it somehow. And so I definitely got talked into it.
Okay, well, listen, Bernie, listen, obviously it was a great conversation because it paid out for everybody that's involved. And thanks for
Sure.
sharing that. And you mentioned something about the Land Title Association in Nashville. We're going to get into later about that experience, and you can share with us exactly, how things went. So, Bernie, I'd like to ask you five. This is the rapid fire question, right?
Okay.
So, ready,
All
set,
right, let's do it.
go. What's one closing mistake you'll never forget?
Oh, geez. So I actually just had this conversation with my assistant yesterday. You can close 100 deals
Mhm.
and 99 go good,
Yes.
99 go smooth, but it's the one deal that went astray for whatever reason that you remember. If it's the one thing, but if it's the one thing with respect to title, you have to have an enormous amount of patience, and sometimes, I don't. But
Mm,
um, you know, the one mistake I'll never make, you follow those lender instructions, right? Or those
yeah,
attorney instructions.
yeah,
Don't just assume things
yeah,
because you think you know. And
yeah.
so I always live by that now.
Great. Thank you. Next question is one tool or system you swear by.
So I think we have a really good, and I know we'll talk a little bit more about TLTA and some of the topics and AI and those types of things, but we got a really good tool or software rather when it comes to our title services
Mm,
and how we integrate, front end, back end, accounting. And so I'm really dependent on it. And I think if you use technology the way it's supposed to be used, it can make you really, really efficient. So.
hmm. And isn't that and so that technology is Signing Service America integrated with that technology?
Yes, correct. Yeah,
Yes.
everything integrated with, us as the title agent, all our underwriters,
Hmm.
our vendors even. I
Hmm.
mean, you're one of our vendors, and it's just literally a touch,
Hmm.
and I can upload all the documents
Hmm.
for your notaries to sign
Hmm.
1,000 miles away.
Hmm. Hmm. Great. And so the next rapid fire question is paper or digital?
Digital for me. I
Yeah,
try
yeah,
not to print
yeah,
anything.
yeah.
If I can stay away from printing, I try to stay away from printing. I'm really trying to evolve into this digital era now. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that is ultimately not where the industry is going. It's there,
it's there.
and it's just going to, become more apparent and, take over more and more areas of the industry to make it more efficient. And, I had a conversation with the older title officer, and he was around when they were still doing, paperwork.
Yeah.
you know and he just marveled to see the growth and the development of the efficiency from then to now, and the accuracy is, he says, is just really, phenomenal. So our last question in the rapid fire section is, what's one trend in the industry you think is overrated?
I don't think this is overrated.
Hmm.
I haven't really integrated myself, and I'd like to learn more about it. And that's AI. And I know
Hmm.
we're going to have a little bit of a conversation on that
Hmm.
later. I'm not here saying it's overrated. It's certainly the new wave, right? And
Hmm.
and innovation, but we haven't dabbled, or I personally haven't dabbled enough in it yet. And so I don't know if it's this overrated concept or if it is the new wave.
Hmm. Okay, great. And so, Bernie, I was doing some research on you, and you're a very popular man. in
Uh-oh.
the industry, and I recall seeing that you are a recipient of a recent award.
Yeah, so it's the inaugural, actually, believe it or not, Minor Business Impact Award.
Uh-huh.
I'm born and raised in El Paso. I left undergrad to attend Texas Tech University,
Mm-hmm.
came back. Also have a bachelor's from the University of Texas at El Paso, which is UTEP,
Uh-huh.
and an MBA from the University of Oklahoma. But here, my hometown, UTEP, did award me and WestStar Title for the inaugural Minor Business Impact Award. So it was quite an honor.
Well, congratulations and well deserved, well earned.
Thank you.
Yeah, so now we get into, Bernie, the piece about the Texas Land Title Association conference in Nashville. And I also understand that you have a leadership role within the conference, yes?
Yeah, so I'm actually a part of the political action committee,
Mm,
which right now, Philip, is there's a lot of hot topics, but one of which is back in February of this year, the Texas Department of Insurance commissioner decided to reduce the basic premium rate in the state of Texas by 10%.
wow.
And that was a shock. It was a shocker. It's really, there's over 20, our industry employs over 20,000 people in our state.
Hmm.
And I just felt like the ones that would really be affected are these mid to smaller size firms and agencies. I mean, that might be their margin. I
Hmm.
mean,
Hmm.
10% might be their entire margin, Philip, when you think
Hmm.
about it in hindsight.
Hmm.
And when you look at the numbers, the agencies from 10 employees or less, or 15 and less, or 15 to 20, you're talking essentially about people losing their job. And so it was a hard hit. Since then, there's been an injunction placed, and so it's kind of on pause now.
Good,
It was
great.
supposed to go into effect July 1st, and here we are, July 3rd.
Hmm.
So it hasn't taken effect yet. Will it, and in what capacity, remains to be seen.
Hmm.
Will it be 10% or will it be less?
Hmm.
That we don't know. But my role and our involvement with our legislator and our state reps and our senators was extremely, extremely important. So I take that role very seriously to be on the political action committee with TLTA.
Hmm. And are there any other items that are of relevance that you'd like to share now?
Yeah, great question. I think the main one that we're all talking about, not just in Texas, but across the state, particularly in our industry and title professionals, is with respect to FinCEN. And I don't know if you've heard of this, but effective December 1st, FinCEN's new, I think they call it the anti-money laundering rule, would require us, real estate professionals or title professionals, um, to start documenting and reporting uh, some transactions, and so that's going to put a lot of pressure on us. FinCEN, just in general, just generally speaking, I think it was created by Congress, and I think it's part of the Department of Treasury, is my understanding. But it's the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, and it's basically like a safeguard, right? It was created to mitigate illicit use of and combat money laundering, et cetera.
Hmm.
And so, if this goes into effect, I mean, we all got to look at the way we collect data, the way we report that respective data. What's our current processes in place like? What are we going to need to do in the future? I mean, are we going to have to ramp up and hire more people
Hmm.
to accommodate this rule? Things of that nature. So again, set to be in place or set to be effective December 1st, but it remains to be seen. And so that was one of the hot topics at the conference this year.
So Bernie, so although it has not been set to initiate, the fact that it's on the table for discussion and possibly implementation, do you think that those that are on your side of the transaction should begin preparing for this new policy, or should folks just continue to wait and see and then make a move when the final decision is rendered?
Yeah, a lot of the other title agents that I've spoken with, not just in Texas, but again nationally,
Mm-hmm.
are already trying to
Mm-hmm.
take a proactive approach,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And look at systems and processes that they already have implemented, and then how
Mm-hmm.
that would affect that. Again, the one thing I brought up was human capital. I mean, are we going to have to now designate people to do this reporting? Are we going to have to hire more people to do this type of reporting? It's a monthly thing, so it's reporting that we need to stay on top of. We just simply need to look in the mirror too at some point and say, how are we collecting this information? How are we collecting information currently from
Mm-hmm.
our buyers, from our sellers, from our lenders, from our brokers? Enhance that, and then just be able to do the proper FinCEN reporting if it comes to fruition December 1st.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. Things have really changed. It has it,
Yeah.
Bernie. Yeah.
Yeah. And let me tell you, I mean, Philip, so if you sell me a property,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and I
Mm-hmm.
buy it cash,
Mm-hmm.
simply meaning I'm not going through any type of third party financing. I'm not getting a loan for the property. I'm paying you cash. That's now a reportable transaction.
Mm-hmm.
If you sell me a property and you say, well, Bernie, I'll do some sort of seller owner finance.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to sell it to you for 200,000. Give me 100,000. I'll finance the other 100,000. That's now a
Reportable.
reportable transaction.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just stuff that we're really, as title agents, as closers, as escrow officers, really going to need to be on top of.
But it seems like, Bernie, that's kind of like the trend that's going around the globe is that there's just more scrutiny into deals and systems that maybe were not on the radar, maybe because of, the the type of activities that were going on. But because the world has become, sort of like a place where there are certain people that are trying to take advantage of certain, loopholes in certain situations in certain industries, that now those loopholes in those industries are closing up to protect the industry that is in the system. Would you not agree?
Yeah, no, that's a great point, and I mean another. Yeah, I mean we're speaking specific to some of these
Yeah.
topics, but another one that's really hot, front burner, especially here in Texas, is foreign ownership
Yeah.
and allowing foreign ownership. And then what about those real estate transactions that are owned by foreign individuals and companies and all the things we have to do behind the scenes with respect to FERPTA and the IRS and withholding. And so, it's just a lot of work. Times are changing,
Hmm.
and my business and industry, we've seen premium actually decrease while it takes more work, more curative matters, more curative time to get these deals across the finish line.
Hmm. Wow. And that's why, Bernie, I'm so glad that you came to the show, particularly, with the experience that you've acquired and the position that you have with the Texas Land Title Association, because, we need to hear this, right? And I just don't think that, I don't know, but maybe more people are going to be aware of what's going on within the industry as a result of you appearing on the show and talking about topics that may not be, common conversation. And especially those that aren't in necessarily on your side of the transaction. When I say your side of the transaction, meaning the title side, the escrow side.
Mhm.
And so thank you. So it was one more piece that we talked about, that you said you experienced at the conference. It had something to do with AI.
Yeah, so these conferences, particularly Texas, right? It's one of the largest in the country. I believe there was over 650 registrants, and a lot of those were agents like me,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Agents that operate in Texas, big, medium, small. Of course, all the national underwriters were there, and then a lot of vendors, a lot of what I would call, I mean, almost people like you, Philip, that you service the industry.
Mm-hmm.
You provide services to consumers that help us facilitate what we do,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's software and technology and notary closings, and tax certificates and how searches and recording and the full gamut. But really one of the hot topics is AI and really allowing AI to implementing it more in our day-to-day operations to allow us to become more efficient, right? And so I'll give you an example. If I open up my laptop and I check my email, I'm hoping I have, maybe a contract or two that a few real estate agents have sent me. Well, I got to open that PDF. I got to look through it. Then I have to go to my data system. I gotta type everything in. 123 Main Street, selling for $100,000 from Phillip to Bernie, right? And that's all manual. That's all kind of manual labor right now. And a person does that and takes the time to do it, and there's quality checks. Well, with AI, I mean, there's systems in place where I could just drag and drop. I could
Mm.
take that PDF file in my inbox, in my email inbox, just drag it over to my software. Boom, I have my new order report just like that. I mean, that saves time, right? That saves energy. Um, Using AI to assist, business owners like myself in implementing business plans, right?
Mhm, mhm.
Creating logos, creating branding, creating marketing, those types of things. Those aren't things that initially I think of. And so it was kind of an eye opener for me to say, you know what? In your rapid fire questions, I called it overrated. I insinuated it was overrated, and
Right,
it's really not overrated
right.
if you use it properly and in
Properly,
the
right,
manner in which it should.
right.
I'll give you, this was an interesting statistic.
Yes,
When you look at companies, okay, that reached 1 million users
yes,
or 1 million subscribers.
yes.
It took Facebook about 10 months to reach 1 million users,
Uh-huh.
subscribers.
Hmm.
Okay. It took Instagram about 2.5 months. It took Netflix like 3 years, 3.5 years.
Right.
It took Chat GPT 5 days.
Uh-huh.
And those are just statistics on a million users.
Wow.
When you look at the statistics of 100 million users,
Hmm.
so more people are using sources like ChatGPT
Hmm.
now more than ever before. I
Hmm.
mean, it's absolutely mind blowing, and so we just need to simply keep up with the times,
Yes,
right? I
yes,
mean, you and I right now. I mean,
yes,
this is enjoyable. We're podcasting, right?
yes, yes,
Well, one in every three Americans now podcast. I
yes.
I I didn't personally know that. I mean, I
Mhm.
I I try to keep up and exercise, and so in the mornings I'll go on a walk and I
Right.
I put on my I put on my earphones and I listen to podcasts. I
Yes,
mean, that's what I do, and
yes.
it's a phenomenal way and manner to really reach your full ecosystem,
Yep.
right? Your closing market
Weekly.
weekly podcast. I mean,
Hmm.
phenomenal, and
Hmm.
all the touch points and all the people you're touching, from lenders to escrow officers to people in your business, right? The mobile notary realm. Um, it- everyone's hearing this, and it's for the betterment of our industry, quite
And
frankly.
I think Bernie, what is exciting, and I didn't say this, but since you mentioned it, last year I spent pretty much all of 2024 appearing as guests on different podcasts,
Okay.
and it was a wonderful experience. And I learned a lot, made some really good connections with
Right.
hosts as well as the company that I hired to book us on these different podcasts. However, there were no podcasts, or at least there were no podcasts that the company that I hired to book me as a guest felt they were strong enough for me to appear on felt as though there were no podcasts within the industry that they wanted to connect me to. I
Huh.
said, and then when they asked me to, would you like to renew your contract? I said, well, heck, if we went through 2024 and you weren't able to, find me what you consider to be a quality show, then why don't I just start one? Why don't I just find out how to do it and create it, and then start inviting those people who are like yourself, Bernie, to the show to talk about topics that we all within the industry need to hear, and we need to hear them from people who are in who do this every day, day in and day out.
That's
And
brilliant.
and so you're one of our guests. You are the first guest on the show, and there are going to be many others who come behind you that are going to bring that the same type of information that we need to hear. We meaning those that work within the industry. So the last question that we want to ask you, Bernie, is that if you have one piece of advice for someone in this industry trying to improve their closing success rate, what would it be?
A lot of times you just need to go with your gut, right? You need to
Mm-hmm.
go with your gut feeling on things. Technology can't do everything for you.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason why there's human capital in place.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but we in title are completely a service industry.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is, in Texas, the title policy, the premium, it's promulgated by the state.
Mm-hmm.
So the state sets the rate based off of the purchase price. So I can't charge you more or less than my competitors.
Mm-hmm.
So what does it come down to at the end of the day? It comes down to service,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
100% service. And what does that entail? What I tell my escrow officers is responsiveness. Just respond. People want to hear from you, and when people have a question, they want to know, and it might not be the answer they want, Philip, right? I mean, it
Mm-hmm.
might in that moment in time,
Mm-hmm.
but if you just take the time to respond and wear their shoes, this is, for the most part, will be the largest investment in their life,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
The real property, whether it's a residential home or maybe it's a commercial building, it is an investment, and a
Mm-hmm.
large one at that. And so just respect that, be responsive, and everything else kind of comes into play.
Mm-hmm. Bernie, well said. It's that key word is just respond, And many times I tell the staff as well as the notaries that work, the signing agents, is that, you respond to us, we'll respond to you. When our
Correct.
clients reach out to us, we have to respond to them. And that's one that has been a value that has sort of like been the cornerstone of Signing Service America from 2016, right? And we're not getting away from that, right? And that, because I told my staff, I said, listen, we got title agents that are doing a lot of title agents and escrow officers and et cetera, that's working inside the transaction. They're working on deals, and they start one deal and then they move on to the next deal, and they may have some issues and questions and whatever with the deal they were just working on, and
Right.
send us an email. Then we communicate with you so they can continue on that deal, but they have to hear from us, and the
Correct.
sooner they hear from us, then it makes their life a lot better,
Yeah.
because they can they can fill the hole, if you will, the gap with this information, and then that file just moves a little bit further forward. So Bernie, so thank you for
Yeah.
that tip for the day, being responsive. And no one, everyone in the industry, may be lender, may be title, may be signing services, may be the signing agent, may be the signing attorney. You have to be responsive to the persons that are seeking information from you, because they're depending upon that information to complete their task to move on for the day. Great
That-
advice.
yeah.
So
No,
Bernie,
that's a great point.
yeah. So Bernie, so as we wrap up here, where can people find you? They want to reach out to Bernie. Where would you like them to go?
Yeah, so WestStar Title is a wholly owned subsidiary. We're owned by WestStar Bank.
Hmm.
So you can go to weststarbank.com, and then there'll be a drop down or a specific title page. Uh, I myself personally am on social media. I'm on Instagram, I'm on X, Facebook, Burn of Iron or Burn of the Iron. My last name is Del Hierro, which in Spanish means of the iron. So I
Ah.
so I tried to tie that to my social media.
Uh-huh.
And I think you could find probably specifically Weststar Title also on LinkedIn and maybe Instagram. And I of course myself am on LinkedIn. So I invite you to join, to reach out. Would love to engage in conversation. Any questions you all have with respect to title or the title industry, by all means, would love to help. So
Great, great. Okay, great, Bernie. So folks, you know how to catch up with Bernie, and he is a very responsive person, as he
I
said.
will respond. Yes, I will respond.
So don't worry about that. And so, Bernie, so that's about it. And I just want to say again, thank you for joining us in Closing Market Weekly's first episode. It has been an informative, fun, adventurous, and more importantly, topic seeking. We were able to talk about what you felt is be the three takeaways from the Texas Land Title Association meeting that occurred in Nashville, Tennessee this year. By the way, attorney, by the way, Bernie, do you advise other Texas title agents to begin, if they're not already attending the Texas Land Title Association?
They really did. They really should.
Okay.
It's a phenomenal networking conference, and
Mm-hmm.
so again, it's agents from all across the state,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can see specific to county, to
Right.
region, and you might be able to network. You might be able to network and meet people that you wouldn't have known otherwise. You
Mm-hmm.
also meet great vendors, right? You
Okay.
meet great vendors, great companies
Uh-huh.
that assist the title industry.
Uh-huh.
And of course, the topics are great. As escrow officers, we need CEs, we need that continuing education.
Right.
And so it also assists in that manner as well.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay, folks, you heard it straight from Bernie, who is the president of WestStar Title. And Bernie, again, thank you for being on the show. And our topic, our tagline is closing deals one episode at a time.
I
And
like it.
today, folks, I believe that we close the deal with Bernie. And Bernie, again, thank you so much for being on the show.
I like it. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it, Philip. And again, our partnership, we've worked together for many years. You're our go-to third-party notary services. And so thank you for all you do and the services you provide for our industry.
Thank you, Bernie.
All right.
All right, bye.
See you guys.
Thanks for tuning in to the Closing Market Weekly. If you found this episode valuable, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone in the industry. For more insights from the front lines of real estate closings, we'll see you next week.